Okay, sleep. Normal human sleep. I did everything right. Warm shower. No caffeine. I even forgave myself for that weird thing I said in the meeting.
You didn't forgive yourself. You filed it, like evidence.
It wasn't even weird.
You said no worries, with a tone that suggested worries.
Nobody noticed.
I noticed. And I'm the only witness who matters because I live here.
Why do you do this the moment I try to rest?
Because you finally stopped distracting me. Congratulations. You created silence. I filled it with the backlog.
The backlog.
Every conversation since 2009, remastered in 4K with director's commentary.
Great.
Also, remember your friend's text from earlier? The one with the period?
Don't.
Why would they use a period?
I'm begging you.
Good. Begging means you care. And caring means we should run at least 12 simulations.
If you've ever tried to fall asleep and your brain starts acting like it's preparing for trial, this video is for you.
Objection. Video implies entertainment. This is a hostage negotiation.
Here's the scary part. Thinking too much isn't just anxiety. Sometimes it's your brain trying to protect you with the only tool it trusts: rehearsal.
Rehearsal is safety. Spontaneity is how people get embarrassed in public.
And if you're watching this, there are 3 things I'm about to prove. Why overthinking feels productive, even when it's ruining you. The one mistake that makes it rebound harder when you try to stop. And the weird reason your brain does this most around the things you care about.
We're going to be so emotionally organized after this.
You're going to hate the part where I explain you.
I won't hate it. I'll critique it.
Overthinking is basically this. Your life is happening in real time. And your brain is living in a parallel universe where everything has 10 hidden meanings.
10? That's optimistic.
It's not that you think a lot. It's that you loop. You circle the same thought like you're trying to wear a groove into it.
That's called rumination. You're welcome.
Rumination is when your thoughts don't move forward. They spin. It looks like progress. It feels like progress. But it's actually mental treadmill. And it usually hits hardest in 3 places: social stuff, texts, tone, facial expressions. The future, everything that could go wrong. The past, everything that already did.
The past is my favorite. It's like a museum where everything is your fault.
What's wild is your brain isn't broken. It's doing something sophisticated. There's a network in your brain that turns on when you stop focusing outward. When you daydream, replay, imagine, analyze.
My home screen.
For a lot of overthinkers, that network runs loud, constantly. So your mind is always online, even in bed, even in the shower, even when you're literally trying to enjoy a sandwich.
The sandwich looks suspicious.
And most people don't realize this habit doesn't usually start because you're dramatic. It often starts because at some point, uncertainty felt unsafe. Not always big trauma. Sometimes just unpredictable moods, criticism that came out of nowhere, walking into rooms and scanning like a radar.
If you could predict the mood, you could avoid the damage. So you learned a skill. Anticipate. Then you grew up and kept using it even when you didn't need to.
Which brings us to the first trap. Let's talk about the most common overthinking scene: the message.
Ah, yes. The text message. Modern day cave painting, except it decides your worth.
You want to cancel plans. A normal person: hey, can we reschedule? Sorry. Send.
Barbaric.
An overthinker: sorry, implies guilt. Remove it. Removing it sounds cold. Add it back. Reschedule sounds presumptuous. Change it to if you want. If you want, sounds insecure. Remove it. Add an emoji to soften it. Emoji feels unserious. Remove emoji. Now it sounds like you hate them. Add context. Context sounds like an excuse. Rewrite everything. Stare at it. Feel your heartbeat in your eyelids.
And after 25 minutes, send something almost identical to the first draft.
Exactly. And while you're doing this, your brain is getting small rewards for problem solving.
You mean I'm being paid?
That's the thing. Overthinking can be chemically reinforcing. You don't even need a solution. Your brain rewards the act of analyzing.
So it's not my fault. It's my biology. I'm basically a victim.
You're basically a casino. You keep pulling the lever because sometimes it feels like you're about to land on clarity. And here's the second escalation. Two types of overthinking. Some of it is reflective. You're trying to understand yourself. That can actually help. But the other kind is brooding. You're just reliving the same fear with different lighting.
The lighting is important for mood.
Most people slide between the two without noticing. That's why it's hard to stop. Because it feels intelligent.
It is intelligent. You're just not emotionally profitable.
And now, the part that hits. Why just stop thinking about it makes it worse. Literally. But before that, notice something. You don't overthink everything.
True. You pick dinner in 9 seconds.
Right. You overthink the things that matter. Relationships. Reputation. Big decisions. Anything where you feel like you could lose something important.
Because loss hurts. And if we can simulate every outcome, maybe we can prevent the worst one.
That's the darkest irony. Overthinking is often your brain pointing at your values in the most miserable way possible. Now, the stop thinking trap. So people tell you, just stop overthinking.
Oh, wow. Revolutionary.
But trying to suppress thoughts sets up a rebound. It's like telling your brain, whatever you do, don't picture a polar bear.
I am now picturing a polar bear holding your embarrassing memories.
Exactly. The brain treats suppression like a job. It has to keep checking if you're thinking the forbidden thought, which means it keeps bringing it up.
Like an intern who won't stop asking, are we panicking yet? Are we panicking now?
This is why the stop strategy backfires. And if you're an overthinker, you've probably done this. You notice the spiral. You shame yourself for spiraling. And now you're spiraling about spiraling.
That's called efficiency.
No. That's called adding a second trap on top of the first. Here's the turning point. The goal is not to have a silent mind. For a lot of people, that's not coming. The goal is to change your relationship with the thoughts so they can exist without driving the car.
I'm an excellent driver.
You're a paranoid driver. You slam the brakes every time someone blinks.
Blinking is suspicious.
So here's the intervention, not motivational, not think positive. I'm going to give you a 20-second move you can do in the moment. And it feels almost stupid, but it works because it interrupts the loop mechanically. Step 1 is naming what's happening. Not as an identity, as a pattern. Rumination. Not I'm broken. Not I'm crazy. Just my brain is looping.
Labeling it doesn't stop it.
It stops the fusion. There's a difference between I'm going to mess this up and I'm having the thought that I'm going to mess this up.
That's annoyingly clever.
This is the 20-second move. When a thought hits, you say, out loud if you can, I'm noticing my brain is doing the rehearsal thing. Then you ask one question. What is this thought trying to protect me from?
Protect you from humiliation, rejection, regret, dying alone.
Great. Now the second question, is that threat happening right now? Or is this a time travel simulation? If it's not happening right now, you don't argue with the thought. You don't wrestle it. You do something else. 3 principles simple, not cheesy. Containment. Give thinking a container. I'll think about this at 6:30 p.m. for 10 minutes. Not all day. Not in bed. Not while brushing your teeth like a haunted Victorian child.
I hate scheduling. It makes me feel employed.
Permission. Stop treating thoughts like commands. Thoughts are weather. Your brain can shout danger like a smoke alarm, even when you just burnt toast.
Sometimes toast is the beginning of a larger collapse.
One honest action. Overthinking feeds on inaction. So you take one small real-world step that proves you're not trapped in the simulation. Send the message. Ask the question. Write the first sentence. Close the laptop. Drink water. Walk for 60 seconds.
60 seconds? That's barely enough time to catastrophize.
Exactly. That's the point. And here's the punchline that adults actually respect. Overthinking isn't a character flaw. It's a misused strength. Pattern recognition without an off switch.
We just want certainty.
I know. But certainty is the drug you never get. So you keep taking smaller doses, more analysis, more checking, more rehearsing.
So what do we do instead?
We trade certainty for trust. Not blind trust, earned trust. I can handle discomfort without running 10 simulations. Your mind doesn't need to be a stadium light all night. It can be a flashlight, only when you actually need to see. And the last thing, why this gets worse at night, has a simple explanation and a simple fix. At night, distractions drop. Your brain loses the volume dial that kept the backlog quiet. So the fix isn't try harder. It's build a landing routine. 5 minutes of brain dump notes so it stops trying to remember. One calming input, not doom scroll. And a clear boundary, bed is not a courtroom.
Fine. But if I have a closing argument?
Write it down. Tomorrow. In daylight. Like a civilized mammal. If you think too much, you're not weak. You're vigilant. You're perceptive. You're trying to prevent pain with prediction. But you don't need to live in rehearsal. You're allowed to live in the scene.
And if you mess up in the scene, we can always replay it 400 times later.
Leave a comment with the one place you overthink the most. Texts, sleep, decisions, or the past. And if you want more Egg vs. Brain episodes like this, subscribe. Not because you should, but because your brain is going to be here anyway. And if your mind gets loud the moment it gets quiet, there's usually a deeper reason. Watch this next, right here.